We're calling the meeting to order. Just some reminders, if you can stay muted, but if you want to temporarily unmute yourself, you can do that with the space bar on your keyboard. Just hold it down while you're speaking, and then it should automatically mute you again when you let go of that. And we are going to be calling the roll on each vote. Before we take up approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, we need to approve an amendment to the agenda for tonight, in that we are removing item number 5, which is the request for an approval of a change order with Kreider & Kreider. We're removing that from the agenda, and we are adding an item to the consent agenda, which is the Mitchell and Stark contract for $7,500. Is there any discussion about amending the agenda? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve the amendment to the agenda?
So move.
In a second? Anyone?
Second.
Sorry, I was trying to get to it wasn't working, so.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. And Latrina, will you call the roll?
Sure. Okay. Bannock,
Yes.
Eamon. Okay.
Spacebar didn't work. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what's up.
Parmenter,
Here.
Burnham,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
and Sherman.
Yes.
All right, thank you all. The agenda is amended. Okay, moving on to approval of the minutes from our April 13th meeting. Are there any additions to the minutes or corrections? Okay, not seeing any. Then is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Second.
Latrina, can you call the roll, please?
Okay. Parmenter,
Aye.
Bannock,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Eamon.
Yes.
All right, minutes are approved. Next, we move on to approval of the claims. First up is standard invoices in the amount of $690,240.38. Are there any questions on the invoices or comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for approval of the invoices.
So move.
Second.
Latrina, please call the roll.
Okay. Kapler,
Yes.
Eamon,
Yes.
Bannock,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
All right, standard invoices are approved. Next up is utility bills in the amount of $270,357.14. Any questions or comments about utility bills? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve utility bills.
So move.
Second.
Latrina?
Eamon,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Bannock,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Burnham. I mean, sorry. My fault. Kapler.
Yes. All right, utility bills are approved. Next up are wire transfers in the amount of $373,460.01. Are there any questions about wire transfers? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
And Latrina, call the roll, please.
Sherman,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Bannock,
Yes.
Eamon.
Yes.
All right, wire transfers are approved. Last is customer refunds in the amount of $124.07. Any questions or comments on customer refunds? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second,
Latrina?
Burnham,
yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Heeman,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Bannock.
Yes.
All right, customer refunds are approved. Next, we move on to the approval of consent agenda, and we'll turn that over to Vic.
Good evening. I'm here with the consent agenda. These are 5 items that are recommended by staff, totaling $43,065.86. The first is to Ecologic for $25,000. This is monitoring vegetative progress and success at the Wapahani site. $2,350.24 to Nalco for filters on a DI system. $3,700 to EMT to investigate the main breaker protective relays. That was at the Monroe plant, I believe. Groomer Construction for $4,515.62 to provide and install hot mix asphalt for Sarah Road. And then $7,500 to Mitchell and Stark. This was an emergency repair of a return activated sludge line at the Dillman plant. Would any of the board members like to consider any of these items separately? Seeing no one, if there's no opposition, all the items on the consent agenda will be approved as recommended by staff. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have request for approval of the memorandum of understanding with Public Works. And Chris Wheeler is going to speak with us about that. Chris?
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening. This is an agreement that was reached between City of Bloomington Utilities and the City of Bloomington Public Works Department to share 50-50 the expense of repair to a stretch of the Bloomfield Road. There's a side ditch that had been paved but was compromised by some issue with regards to erosion. Not being 100% clear on the issue of the erosion and the overflow water cutting into the base, the two departments agreed to repair it and share the cost. And that's what this MOU is trying to outline, is the fact that we're going to put one half of the $83,850 on the table from CBU funds. And I'm happy to try and answer questions.
Okay, are there any questions? Just wave in the picture or let me know. Jeff, Amen.
Yeah, Chris, thank you. Could you talk a little bit more about the basis for the cost sharing? And am I correct in understanding that the responsibility is not clear and that's why we're doing the cost sharing here? So
the prevailing thought is that something with regards to the drainage ditch failed, which would suggest that it's primarily a CBU issue. But I'm going to pass off this to Jane, who was integrally involved with the issue and can tell you more about why this is happening.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we met with Public Works about 3 or 4 months ago. They had a project online to mill and resurface Bloomfield Road in the stretch from about Weimer to Basswood Drive. It's an old state highway. Bloomfield Road was old, 45, I believe. So it had a very old asphalt paved side ditch that has not been maintained. I don't know when the city took over the road, but I can tell you that CBU has probably never maintained that ditch. And there's a lot of water that flows through there. So sections of the asphalt ditch had been washed away and it was tending to undermine the asphalt pavement. So they asked if we could go in and repair that. We did not have the staff at the time to do that work. We were coming into this pandemic issue and not knowing what our staffing was going to be like. And truthfully, at the time we started talking about it, there was still a lot of traffic out there, and it would have required quite a bit of traffic maintenance from our staff. So a lot of staff to man this project. So we came to the understanding that they would include this project, include the paved side ditch with their contractor who is performing the asphalt pavement. We would share the cost 50-50. It truly is, it's a drainage issue, but it also is a roadway issue in that it protects the roadway. So it was deemed to be splittable, shareable cost. I hope that helps.
And so
Okay.
just to be clear, so we're paying for half of the ditch repair and none of the road repair, or half of both?
Half of the ditch repair only.
That seems very fair.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then I would entertain a motion for approval of this MOU with Public Works.
So moved.
Second,
All right, and Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Parmenter, Megan, I missed you if you said anything.
Yes, sorry, I did something different that time.
That's okay.
I approve.
Panic,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Burnham,
yes.
and Amon.
Yes.
All right, that MOU is approved. Thank you. Okay, next up is request for approval of the service agreement with EQ Industrial Services for $30,000. And James Hall is going to speak with us about this.
Hi, James Hall, Environmental. This contract is with EQ Industrial or US Ecology. It services all 4 of our main facilities, the 3 plants in the service center, to dispose of any episodic or regularly generated waste or hazardous waste that can't typically go to a landfill. So a lot of our lab waste, or if they're cleaning out and getting rid of products, would be kind of covered under this contract, and it's for 3 years. So we had a $20,000 contract with them for 1 year, and we ended up using just over $10,000. And so we think this 30,000 will be plenty to get us through 3 years.
Okay, excellent.
Question?
Yeah, any questions from folks? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second,
Latrina, please call the roll.
Panic.
Yeah.
Amon,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes,
Burnham,
yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
and Sherman.
Yes.
All right, the service agreement is approved. Next is the request for approval of a 6th amendment to the original agreement with BET Environmental Engineering. And James Hall is going to speak with us about this as well.
James Hall, again, Environmental. So this is hopefully the final contract with BET Engineering to get through the management of the demolition contract with Jeff Weisgeist, which is on the next item. This will cover them being out there on site and doing any confirmation sampling that needs to happen and helping guide the demolition.
All right, thank you. Any questions for James? All right, not seeing any, then I would entertain a motion for approval of this request for the 6th
So
amendment.
moved.
Second,
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Amon,
Yes.
Burnham,
yes.
Panic,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Parmenter,
yes,
and Kapler.
Yes. All right. The amendment is approved. Next up, request for approval of agreement with Jeff Guswhite Incorporated. And James will tell us more about this.
Hi, again, James Hall, Environmental. This is the demolition contract. We've voted on the resolution before last board meeting. So this is a contract. They plan to start soon. Again, it has a 90-day substantial completion in 120-day final completion. So.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval of this agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Latrina, please call the roll.
Kepler,
Yes?
Eman,
Yes.
Bannock,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
All right, that agreement is approved. Thank you. Now we move on to old business. Any old business from the board? Not seeing any old business from staff? No? I have down here under old business, something about residential storm grants committee approval. Do we need to talk about that here? Oh,
That's
can't hear you, Vic.
Sorry. At the last meeting, we discussed boards need to make an appointment for the residential stormwater grant program. At the time, the discussion was to have member Eman sit on that committee again. I don't know if anybody else has offered to do it, but if not, there would just need to be a motion to appoint and a second and a vote.
I
Okay,
move to appoint Jeff Eman as our representative to the Residential Storm Grant Committee.
is there a second?
There is a second.
All right, Latrina, please call the roll.
Latrina had a technical issue, so I'll call the roll. Kepler,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Eman,
Yes.
Bannock,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
All right. Looks like Jeff Eman is appointed to this committee. Thank you. All right. Any new business from the board? Any new business from staff?
None.
All right. We'll move on to, as far as I know, there were no subcommittee reports. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Staff reports. Vic.
I've got a few items. Thank you. The first one is that CBU continues to run smoothly, even with the COVID-19 emergency. We have a lot of people working off site. As with all other city departments, we provided masks to all of our employees. When employees in T&D and other facilities are out in trucks together, they are wearing masks, and they are wearing masks when they work in close quarters with one another. We haven't had anyone test positive for the virus inside CBU up to now. So I think our folks are doing a good job of distancing and working safely. So I'm very happy to say that. Thank you for finalizing the appointment for the Residential Stormwater Grant Program. This year we have upwards of 50 applicants for grants, which is an increase from last year. And I'm sure that there'll be some really good projects that will come out of all of that. So thank you. Tonight you approved the contract for the demolition of the Griffey plant. Yes, everyone wants a cheer. We've already spoken with the people at Bruce Wild's and who've been providing security there for, I dread to think of how long now, and that will be ended on Monday next when the project begins. I do want to thank Bruce Wild Security for their efforts. 24-hour security over there. They've kept careful records of how many people have been coming and how many vehicles have been coming, and they've kept people out of the building pretty effectively. So I just want to thank them for all of their work on that. Another thing is last week there was some confusion expressed on Facebook regarding disconnection notices. The fact we are not doing disconnections during the COVID-19 emergency, as we all know. We're also not assessing any late fees during the emergency. All of this is consistent with the directions from the mayor's office and from the governor. at this. So, but there was some confusion about it because the door tags still had the disconnection language on it. We have made, we did reach out and explain why the notices were posted, because if you're in arrears, we still are going to let you know that you're in arrears. And assuming that the emergency order is lifted at some point, we will need to start redoing disconnections again. However, we've developed a modified door tag just for this particular period of time that explains that you're more than 90 days behind, and if you can afford it, please pay the bill. If you can't, please reach out to customer service to look into what other options we might have to assist. So those tags will be hung starting now whenever we're having to hang any kind of disconnect notices. So I think that'll clear everything up. And then the last thing is this Thursday, every year we've been doing a year in review presentation. I've been doing the presentations here, there in the boardroom at CVU. This year, obviously, we're not going to be able to do that, but we still want to do the year in review. So Holly and I were going to get together tomorrow and make a video. She will post the video, I think, on Thursday, and it'll be available for all the board members and employees to see, to talk about the things we've been doing. So be watching for it. We'll send you an email with a link to the video. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Vic and the staff report? I had just a quick one, Vic. You said that masks have been supplied to all CBU personnel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any mandate that staff need to be wearing that when, out in the field or working in close proximity, or is that kind of personal judgment?
No, the direction we've been directed by the mayor's office to wear masks when we're working in close proximity with another employee.
Okay.
So that includes even riding back and forth to job sites and so forth. So we have directed our employees to do that.
Okay, thank you. All right. So moving on, are there
Amanda has a question, Jean.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to see if, Vic, have you heard anything at all in terms of when we'll start opening, back up the front lobby and other things yet? Or are we still on, I hate to say the word lockdown, that's not the right word, but are we still on these COVID restrictions through May 1st or 15th, or what's the plan?
At this point, we're on these restrictions until May 1st. The governor has been making updates on these, typically on the dates that they've been expiring or very close to it. We haven't heard any indication yet as to what advice we'll be getting from the governor this week. So, but I'm sure we'll hear something by the end of the week. But I don't have a good answer to that other than we don't know.
Yeah, I was just curious if you guys had heard anything yet. And if, I'm assuming we're going to have some sort of, limited access, especially to the customer service people, in the front lobby, and just making sure that those folks are able to be safe while people come in to pay their bills and do different things.
Yeah, at some point, I'm sure we will.
Thank you. Any other questions for Vic? All right, I'm not seeing any. Then, are there any petitions and communications from the public that may have come in on Facebook Live? Holly?
No, there are none.
Okay, well, then would just like to say thank you all for dealing with the technology of yet another Zoom meeting, and Holly for managing the Facebook, and Latrina for getting the Zoom meeting together. And is there a motion for adjournment?
So move.
All right, we are adjourned. Thanks much, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.